In light of Thanksgiving being just around the corner and how food-driven that holiday is, I thought it'd be a good time for me to make another low food waste video. So here's some more tips on how to reduce food waste in your home, Thanksgiving edition. Thanksgiving, the time of year when we give thanks. We are meant to get together with loved ones, enjoy a bountiful spread, and speak of all that we are grateful for. Unfortunately, a lot of food waste happens around Thanksgiving because it involves eating a boatload of food, like more than should ever fit into a human body in one sitting. But it happens, all while bickering about politics with your family, which then makes you so upset you can't eat, but then you do eat. You eat much more until you're in a carbohydrate coma, passed out on the couch, next to Uncle Bob, who's yelling at the football game on the TV. Meanwhile, Mom and Aunt Nancy are somehow in the kitchen making more food. Where the heck did that come from? I was certain we ate all the foods in existence. But anyway, my point is we prepare far too much food.
There's too much food!
We want to be sure that everyone has plenty to eat and enough to take home for leftovers. But eating the same 3 to 5 dishes for a few days in a row can get old. So if you have leftovers from Thanksgiving but don't feel like eating the same thing several days in a row, I understand, I feel your pain. So here's some ideas for you. Leftover turkey is a given. I would recommend dividing it up into separate containers so that you have one maybe for salads, tacos, sandwiches, enchiladas, and maybe even one for your dogs. And you don't have to eat them all right after Thanksgiving. You could throw them in the freezer for a later date and then make soups with them later. Use leftover stuffing for meatballs or meatloaf. Vegans and vegetarians can do the same with meat alternatives like seitan and TVP.
Yes, Satan?
I said seitan. I was literally listing vegan.
And if you have leftover cranberry sauce, I really don't know why, because you could just give it to me and I'll eat it. Or you could find a plethora of recipes online, like here on Spruce Eats. You can find these fruity muffins and cranberry cocktail meatballs, which I think would be just as tasty if made with seitan or TVP. I found a recipe for sweet potato mini bread loaves. I found another recipe that calls for leftover mashed potatoes, turkey stuffing, and even applesauce if desired. So that's a great way to use up a bunch of your leftovers. Another tip is to have plenty of containers that you don't mind giving away if you're hosting Thanksgiving. You all know that I save jars, plastic takeout containers, and random other food containers. These are great for sending guests home with food, even liquidy ones like gravies and soups. But before you go crazy thinking about all the meals you can make out of leftovers and how much you can pawn off on your guests, let's think about meal planning more carefully to avoid an overabundance of leftovers. You'll want to get an estimate of how much food you'll need for each guest. There are even food portion calculator apps and websites, so you can calculate how much of each dish you should have based on how many adults and children you're feeding and how much you want for leftovers. Only buy what you need. See if you have the ingredients on hand before going shopping. And if you're buying an ingredient that you wouldn't normally otherwise use, do an internet search for meals that you can make with that ingredient so it doesn't go wasted after the holidays. You can even jot a note on the container so you have ideas for it later on in the year. There's a good amount of foods being peeled in preparation for Thanksgiving, and from a nutritional standpoint, I would typically recommend not peeling most of your vegetables, as that's where a lot of the nutrients live. However, if you have health issues that make it hard for you to digest peels, please ignore this tip. But if the recipe calls for the vegetables to be peeled, you don't necessarily have to discard them. You can oil, season, and bake peels of vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and beets, and they make nice little crispy treats. Making roasted carrots or a vegetable medley this year? Don't toss those carrot peels or tops. You can make carrot top pesto, carrot peel pesto, and you can add carrot peels to smoothies or even to a stir fry. So when you're preparing meals, think twice before tossing those peels. I just rhymed. I don't know about you, but at our Thanksgiving dinners, there's always a bunch of coffee being made to enjoy with our desserts. Don't waste the grounds. Coffee grounds can be used for compost, and I've even heard that it can be made into a window cleaner, although I have yet to try it. But what I like to do with my coffee grounds is make body scrubs. It's just a nice way to exfoliate and pamper yourself. I have made them as gifts for friends too. Pro tip, save small lidded containers to fill with said body scrubs, preferably ones with a wide mouth. I have these plastic containers from a powder drink that I reused for body scrubs that I made for myself and for coworkers. Use food sharing apps like Olio to share some of your leftovers. And conversely, there's apps like Too Good To Go where you can rescue unsold food from businesses before it gets tossed. How fun would it be to plan a dinner party with all rescued food? I mean, come on. If you bought too much food for Thanksgiving or just have too much in your pantry that you know you're not going to eat, consider donating it to a food bank. And I know most people probably intend on using all the food in their pantry, but as my diet has changed, I've had to donate foods that I'm no longer able to eat. We've also had food delivered to us in error that was not ours, and again, we couldn't return it to the store, so we had to donate it. This time of year, we seem to be more aware of food insecurity, and this is when the food banks are just getting overloaded with donations, and that's great and all, but people need to eat every time of the year, not just around the holidays, so please don't forget those in need the remainder of the year.
Donate, donate, donate in a hurry.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please let us know in the comments below what you do to reduce food waste in your home around the holidays. You okay there? The dogs always have to come in here and make noise when I'm recording. That's their MO. I don't know why this is so hard. Did I do that right? I'm still not getting it right.